Hope is not a strategy, but hope is absolutely a prerequisite if you want to make changes in your life to make your life more enjoyable, to feel more fulfilled and more in joy. Hi, my name is Andrea Horvath. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Before I jump into today's video, I want to share that I have created a free guide on how to create a professional life that you love. It gives you tips, questions to ask yourself, as well as common mistakes to avoid. I'm going to put the link to that guide down below. So if you are thinking of making a career change and you don't really know where to start, I recommend that guide. It can really get your mind moving into different areas and thinking about different things. So hope, hope is something that's really interesting because it really isn't a strategy, as I said at the very beginning. But this is what I'm really seeing right now in talking to people. And I talk to a lot of people each day, each week. There is this lack of hope. There is this real sense of a disbelief, almost like people are giving up. It's like resigning to, this is just going to be how it is for my life. And let's face it, the last couple years has been really tough. And when you look at what's been happening the last couple years, a lot of fear, a lot of circumstances where we didn't have a lot of control. When you think about a lot of actually things were taken from us and we really had no say in the matter. And that has its effect on you. If you look at your psyche. I mean, when I look at this at a global perspective, we have gone through a planetary trauma. And it continues. We've gone from a virus to war to, economic strife. We've got family struggles. We've got divorces. I talk to a lot of people who are getting divorced right now. I'm amazed at the numbers I'm seeing. So there's a lot going on. And there's really been a global trauma. So what do we do? And this is what this video really is about, is okay, so here we are. And if you're somebody who is really losing your faith, losing your sense of belief that you can actually create something better for yourself, I encourage you to watch this video. I'm going to share, I think it's about 4 tips on how you can start to shift yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest here, I'm going to be blunt and really share the hard truth. Nobody's going to save us. Nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to save me. The world is going to continue doing what it's doing. It's really up to each and every one of us to make a conscious and intentional choice about our lives. And I know that many of you are also feeling very exhausted, just energetically really low. And so some of the tips I'm sharing today about how you can shift that will hopefully start to address that. So they're not a lot of what you have to do in terms of exert more energy, but it's a little bit more about having to shift your energy and to save and preserve some of your energy, which then can really help us move forward in our lives to create what it is we really want. So the tips that I want to share today, number 1, and one of the most important, turn off the news. Do not watch the news. Do not engage in the news. Just completely ignore the news. Have I said that enough? I stopped watching the news 20 years ago, okay? I still know what's going on in the world. You can't escape it. But spending an hour or 2 hours or your commute listening to news is taking up a lot of your precious energy. What happens is, well, first of all, the news is only sharing bad news. I mean, it's called the news, but it's really bad news. It's really focusing on everything that is going wrong in this world. So you're training your mind every time you listen to all that, you're training your mind to actually focus on what's going wrong. Second of all, it's telling you what's going on in the world when you likely have 0% chance of actually being able to create change. I mean, we hear about the war in Ukraine. Okay, so there's a few things we could do. As an example, we could donate some money, right? That might be to the, Ukrainian people. We could maybe, sign a petition. I don't know what we could do. There's not a lot we can do. I think to myself, the best I can do is actually send prayers and love and positiveness. It doesn't sound like much, but at the end of the day, there really isn't a lot we can do, but worrying about them actually it actually makes the situation worse because we are all energetic beings. We are all creative, energetic beings. And we put worry into something, we put concern and negative thoughts and emotions into something, it actually expands what's going wrong. And like I said, it trains your mind. Watching the news like this, it trains your mind to look for what's bad in this world. And that can be a hard habit to break. So honestly, turn off the news, stop watching it. Don't talk about it. Like I think when we think, well, we want to share something on social media about how we feel about an issue, what can we do? Or we're upset with something, stop yourself and ask why you're doing that. Like, what is it you're actually getting from sharing something? Because again, it's keeping that cycle continuing, and it's not about being insensitive or not having compassion for what's going on. That's not what it is. I think a lot of times we think, I have to know because I need to know what's going on to the people of the world. It's not helpful. Like I said, the best you can do is actually send love, send healing, send positive thoughts, and actually go out in the world and create and do amazing things for yourself, because we are all connected energetically. Science has proven this. This is not woo-woo anymore. We know this, right? So the best thing we can actually, all of us, do is actually go do amazing things. So the second thing I really want to talk about is actually focusing on your internal far more than you are focusing on the external, because again, the external is actually feeding a lot of negativity, right? And a lot of times we take in the outside and then we process it, and that determines how we feel and then how we go out in the world. Really, when it is that tumultuous out there and that crazy, and it's not going to stop, like this is going to continue. I mean, I think most of us realize this now. There's no end in sight. So what we can do is focus on our internal state. And this is really key. This is huge. Again, this is another thing. By turning off the news, you're actually also focusing on your internal state. But what we can also do is start to manage our emotions. So for instance, if you start to feel really depressed or really negative or just feeling really sad about what's going on, or, scared, like the uncertainty of what's going to happen in this world, focus on your emotional state. So listen to something that's more uplifting, that's empowering. Read a book. Change your state. I mean, I tell clients this all the time. If you're in a funk and you're in your mind and you're in your emotions and you're ruminating, do something different. Turn on some music and dance it out. Go for a walk around the block. Call a friend, but don't talk about what's going on. Just completely change your environment, change what you're doing. Like I said, if you're sitting, move. If you're moving too much, stop, take a few breaths. Change the conditions you are in, because right now, it really is a mental game. It's an emotional game. Because there is a lot of negativity out there. There is a lot. And so we have to find ways, and you have to consciously spend time each day working on what's going on in here and what's going on in your heart. And if your heart feels heavy, find things to love, find ways to find joy. And this doesn't have to take a lot of time. I talked at the beginning, you might not have a lot of time and energy, but you turn off the news and instead put something positive in your mind, you're already shifting. You're not having to actually expend any more energy, right? You can kind of see that. I have really upped my strategies that I do each day right now. So each day I've noticed that I have to reset more times throughout the day, meaning, I get up in the morning and I have my routine, whether it's writing on affirmations, listening to some videos, journaling, finding ways to actually uplift my spirits. But I'm finding right now I actually have to do it multiple times throughout the day. And then again, I do that before bed. So it's something I have scheduled. And if ever I feel down or I feel that helpless feeling, I stop what I'm doing and I go, okay, I need to deal with this right now. That is the most important thing. And we have to start recognizing our emotional state and our mental state is where everything starts. It's everything. So we really need to put energy and effort, and it may sound foreign to you, maybe it's not something you've ever done before, but when we are in challenging times, which I know we all know we are in, it takes more effort. It takes more of us to actually create change. And that starts with each and every one of us. Third thing I want to say is start to invest in yourself. Especially when you look at the economy and what all the predictions are and all the gloom and doom predictions, we can easily withdraw and just really kind of recede back. It's like, ooh, I'm scared, right? I'm uncertain, I'm scared. But what we actually need to do is start investing in ourselves, because the problem is we can't rely on the rest of the world, the government, whatever it is, to change the circumstances. What we can do is rely on ourselves. So if you were in a job where you're feeling uncertain, invest in yourself. And what this means for you could be very different, and is very different from the person, next to you, or your spouse, your partner, your family, your friends, whomever that is. If you're feeling like your health is really suffering right now because you've maybe been down the last couple of years and you've stopped getting out as much, that might be the point where you need to really shift yourself. If you feel like you're not hireable, look at your skill sets, learn something new. There's so much information out there. There is not a lack of resources, no matter where your price point is and what you can afford. I have invested in myself ever since I can remember. I don't remember a time when I didn't invest in myself. It's become very natural. But I do also know that it can feel really uncomfortable, like to invest yourself. I remember the first time I invested in a personal development course that was, I think it was about $1,500. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is in my 20s. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of money. And it was. But how my life changed as a result of this, I will never forget it. I am so grateful I made that choice and took that bit of a leap of faith. Didn't know where it was going and really had no idea. But I know it changed the trajectory of my life. And I always have. I have coaches, I do online courses. I'm always doing something. And that is how I keep my confidence up. I know I've got something to offer that is valuable. I know I'm continually evolving. And that's what we can really do when we are in some of these tougher economic times. And also, like I said, just to increase your confidence, you feel good about yourself. It's exciting. I love learning. But it's all about learning what you want to learn as well. I don't love learning things that don't excite me, but find something that excites you. Find something that, gets you inspired, and don't judge yourself for what that might be. Just start learning, because it takes you to a different place energetically, emotionally, gets your mind moving. As humans, we have an innate desire to want to grow. That's something that's part of us. The last couple of years, there's been some areas of growth where we can grow, and there's been a lot of places that we haven't grown. And so starting yourself in that growth phase can really help shift your state. Now, the fourth thing and the fourth tip I have to help, increase your faith, increase your hope, is to practice gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful. It can change your state really quickly. I'll share a couple things that I have done throughout my life to help shift me when I'm feeling down. And, I've had my dark moments in my life many times. And something that has helped me shift is I will literally get a notepad and I will write out the numbers 1 to 25, 1 to 50, 1 to 200 even. And I will list out all the things I have to be feel grateful for, pardon me. And I will sit there until I come up with them. And there's nothing that I won't touch. So I'm grateful for the water that I have to drink. I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful for the phone that I have that I get to do things like this. I am grateful for my couch that's comfortable. I'm grateful I list all the people in my life. I'm grateful for knowledge. I am grateful for learning. You name it. I will go through absolutely everything I can think of. Hot water. We're so lucky to have hot water. We just turn a tap. Think about it. That's freaking amazing. It's remarkable. The trap, I think, sometimes that can be thrown at people, and I think this is not a positive thing, is we should never, I shouldn't say we should never. Sometimes we can say, oh, look, well, you're not sick, or your life could be worse. And I think that's a really negative way of looking at gratitude. It's not about going, It's not a contest about who has the worst life. And because you don't have the worst life, you should feel grateful. Yes, there are times when we might have those moments where like, wow, I'm really grateful I'm not in a worse situation. But it's not a comparison game. And I think that's where sometimes gratitude can take a negative turn as we start comparing ourselves to other people, who have it supposedly worse than us. That's not what this is about. This is about saying, focusing on what is going well, what you do have, and taking away perhaps from what you don't have. Again, it's that shift, because we've been really focusing a lot in the last couple of years on what's not going right and what we don't have. And a powerful way to shift ourselves is to start thinking about what we do have and what is going well. And I can guarantee you, if you can sit there and you can write out 100, 200 things to be grateful for, and do it daily. This is not a one-off thing. It might be in your circumstance, you might just having a bad day. But if you've been noticing you've been in a funk for a while and just feeling down, losing that hope, not having any belief, start a gratitude practice, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes before bed. That alone can shift things. So you can see, and I tried in this video to introduce some things that don't necessarily take a lot of time and energy, because I know a lot of you, that's part of the problem right now. You just feel like you're depleted. But these are things each and every one of us can do to start to shift ourselves and start to create that hope. It's from that place of hope that we can start to take action. We feel more energized. And that's how we change this world. Like I said, it's not about the government saving us. I think we all know that's not going to happen. It's up to each and every one of us. We are the collective. We are far more people than are in the government. We have all the power to change things ourselves. So I hope this has helped to start moving you out of whatever state you are in. If this was helpful for you, please share with somebody. If there's somebody in your life who's been feeling in a funk, I use that word because I feel like sometimes that's the best way to describe it, but please do share it, because we need everybody right now. Truthfully and honestly, we need everybody in this world to find the hope. That is how we make the change. So thank you so much for listening, and I do hope that you, there's that word again, implement and start to introduce some of these ideas and suggestions that I shared in this video. Take care, and I will talk to you soon.